Good morning. Dear colleagues, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seats. Let me first inform you that the Bureau met this morning for the third time and discussed several issues, of which one was to identify the new member of the Bureau for the 13th session of the committee within each electoral group. The vice chairs and the rapporteur of the Bureau will be elected on Saturday. Dear committee members, despite our diligent work yesterday, we still have to examine today a total of 25 nominations to the representative list, one element for removal and transfer, 2 requests for international assistance, and 2 proposals to the Register of Good Safeguarding Practices. This makes it 30 files left to examine before adopting the overall decision 12.com/11. At the same time, I wish to remind you that we have only covered 15 files in a day yesterday. So we clearly need to move much faster today if we wish to proceed with our work according to schedule. This morning, we will try to complete our work with the examination of the remaining nominations to the representative list. Dear colleagues, the Bureau received a request from Kazakhstan to examine draft decision 11.b18 as early as possible this morning. This is because they have planned a performance involving Korean school children who can be absent from their school only this morning. We will therefore examine these draft decisions immediately before Germany's file. And we have a same request from Portugal 11.b.26. So before we examine Germany's file, Kazakhstan first and followed by Portuguese file. Without further delay, let us move along to the Kazakhstan file. Okay, Turkey, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From today's Bureau meeting, I had the impression that you will give some clarification with regard to what happened yesterday.
I think it's a little later. We will take up the almost similar items. So when we address that item, we will make some clarification if necessary. Okay, Mr. Chairperson.
Good morning to all. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kazakh traditional ASIC games are an ancient tradition in Kazakhstan. Each player has their own set of ASICs, traditionally made out of a sheep bone, and a saka, dyed in bright colors. The community of practitioners mainly comprises children aged between 4 and 18, but young people and adults are also involved. The game is a good model for positive collaboration, social inclusiveness, and a sense of friendship, and is primarily transmitted through observation from older boys to younger ones. Mr. Chair, from the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, traditional ASIC games are mostly played outdoors by children, although adults are also involved. The games contribute to the development of cognitive and physical skills and promote a sense of identity. ASIC is considered as a strong symbol of childhood in the country. R2, the inscription of the element would raise public interest in traditional games. It would also foster a sense of brotherhood and unity among children from the different social, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds. The inscription of the element would also inspire the wide and creative application of traditional attire and traditional patterns in modern design. R3, the viability of the element is ensured by the communities, groups, and individuals concerned. The proposed measures include organization of tournament, provision of administrative and legal assistance, television documentaries, creation of updating of an open source online database, production of national souvenirs featuring imagery related to the practice, academic research, among other measures. R4, during the preparation of the nomination, a series of meetings were organized with the active participation of the communities concerned, letters attesting to the free, prior, and informed consent were provided. R5, in 2013, the element was included in the National Register of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Kazakhstan, with the wide participation of the communities, groups, and individuals concerned. The register is maintained and regularly updated every 2 to 3 years by the Ministry of Culture and Information. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe Kazakh traditional ASIC games on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. The committee may remind the state party to avoid reference to private companies or brands in relation to activities aiming at safeguarding the element, and to be aware of over-commercialization that could lead to decontextualization. The committee may also invite the state party to fully involve children in the implementation of the safeguarding measures, considering that they are the main bearers of the element. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? I see no objection. I therefore declare decision 12.com 11.b 18 adopted. Congratulations, Kazakhstan, and the floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dear members of the committee, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Kazakhstan, let me express gratitude to the government of the Republic of Korea for their warm welcome, the chairperson for the effective leadership, and the Secretariat of the Convention for the successful organization of the session. We would like to thank all the members of the committee for the endorsement of the recommendations of the evaluation body to inscribe the national nomination Kazakh traditional Asik game to the representative list of ICH of humanity. Our special thanks are extended to all partners who took part in the process of preparing the dossier, particularly to the Kazakhstan National ICH Committee, the Committee for Sport and Physical Education of the Minister of Culture and Sport of the Republic of Kazakhstan for constant support and consultations. Traditional Asik game contributes to the development of cognitive and physical skills in children. The element serves to improve the socialization of young people as opposed to modern media such as computers, TV, video games, and etc. The Asik game teaches young generation to cultivate friendship, promote tolerance by transcending social, religious, racial, and other differences through this game that is played mostly outdoors. Today's inscription seals our commitment to safeguard, protect, and popularize Asik, especially among Kazakhstan's youth. We pledge to give our continued full support to UNESCO's important mission and activities in all spheres of its mandate, and particularly in the ICH area. In this regard, we would like to kindly remind that Kazakhstan stands as a candidate to the International Committee for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage for 2018 and 2022 at the elections to be held in June this year. So we would like, with the permission of the member states, to kindly demonstrate the Asik game on the stage. Unfortunately, our children could not come, but we still are ready to show our performance. Thank you for your attention.
Congratulations once again, Kazakhstan. We will now move to the examination of the nomination file, craftsmanship of extremos clay figures submitted by Portugal. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that he can share with us the findings of the body on this nomination file. Mr. Skunti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The craftsmanship of extremos clay figures dates back to the 17th century and involves a process lasting several days. The clay figures are dressed in regional attires of alentejo or religious clothing and follow specific themes. The very characteristic aesthetic features of the figures make them immediately identifiable, and the craft is strongly attached to the region. Artisans ensure the viability and recognition of their craft through non-formal workshops and pedagogical initiatives, as well as through local, national, and international fairs. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. As for R1, the craftsmanship of extremos clay figures in Portugal was initially linked to the creation of nativity scenes, but the figures also depict natural elements, local trades and events, popular traditions, and everyday life. It is related to the representation of the natural world, religious beliefs, and the historical memory of the society in question, and reflects its social changes over time. R2, the inscription of the element would promote respect for cultural diversity and human creativity in general, while encouraging mutual understanding among communities that share some of the features depicted by the clay figures. It would also foster greater appreciation of the craft and could encourage dialogue among people interested in exchanging views about their lives and traditions. R3, the viability of the element is ensured through the artisan community's participation in safeguarding actions. Such measures include non-formal education workshops, itinerant exhibitions, local, regional, national, and international fairs, and pedagogical initiatives organized in partnership with Extremos Municipal Museum. Measures are also taken to protect artisans and their practice from any adverse effects of industrial production. R4, from 2012 to 2016, Extremos City Hall coordinated the process of preparing the nomination for the inscription of the craftsmanship of Extremos clay figures with the active participation of the local artisans and the regional authorities who gave their free, prior, and informed consent, demonstrating a keen interest in the inscription. R5, in 2015, the element was included in the National Inventory of Intangible Cultural Heritage, which is maintained by the General Directorate of Cultural Heritage, carried out by the Municipal Museum of Extremos. With the artisans' participation, the inventory will be updated every 10 years. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe the craftsmanship of Extremos clay figures on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Scuti, for this very detailed explanation of the different issues raised during the evaluation of this file. We have not received any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? I see no objection. I therefore declare decision 12.com 11.b26 adopted. Congratulations, Portugal. The floor is yours for 2 minutes. Portugal, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairperson. This is the 7th Portuguese element inscribed on the Convention list, and we are truly glad that Portugal has been able to successfully safeguard several elements of its intangible cultural heritage and identity at the international level with the help of this committee. The production of clay figures is a widespread practice well known to most people in the world, and the visibility that this inscription on the UNESCO Convention list brings will undoubtedly be extremely positive to the safeguarding of similar elements at the local, national and international level. Clay figures are produced in all regions of the world, a fact that points to the significance of these practices to community with very different cultures, backgrounds, and beliefs. It is an old, widespread traditional craft that needs little further explanation to be understood. We are sure that the inscription of this traditional craftsmanship on the representative list will foster the acknowledgement and appreciation for the artisans' works all over the world, and may encourage dialogue among different people by exchanging and sharing views related to their daily life and traditions. In this sense, the inscription of the productions of clay figures in Estremoz encourages dialogue based on the respect for cultural diversity, but also on shared experiences, since the figures depict scenes that are common to many cultures worldwide, such as to give you some examples, people carrying water, taking care of animals, selling farm products, and washing clothes. As regards the safeguarding of the craftsmanship of Estremoz clay figures, the municipality of Estremoz has already started implementing the safeguarding plan proposed in the nomination, thus fulfilling its commitments to the implementation of the 2003 Convention. I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, Portugal. We will now move to the examination of the nomination file, Organ, Craftsmanship, and Music, submitted by Germany. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of EB so that it can share with us the findings of the body on these nominations. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Organ craftsmanship and music has shaped Germany's musical and instrument-making landscape for centuries. And there are a diverse number of traditions around constructing and playing the organ. The highly specialized knowledge and skills of organ makers are significant markers of group identity, and organ music constitutes a universal language that fosters interreligious understanding. Knowledge and skills related to the element are transmitted through a direct teacher-pupil experience, as well as in vocational schools, universities, and organ construction workshops. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, organ craftsmanship and music is an artistic practice that combines innovative techniques and knowledge about the nature and creative improvisation of performing organ music. There is a wide range of traditions around constructing and playing the organ in Germany, with several thousand organ builders and organists throughout the country. R2, the element fosters interreligious understanding and even acts as a connecting factor between believers and non-believers. Its inscription would enhance dialogue among various communities and foster connections between them, both within Germany and beyond. R3, comprehensive educational activities at both the formal and non-formal levels, and activities related to the transmission and dissemination of the element are planned or already underway. One of their goals is to foster the network of stakeholders in order to exploit synergies and strengthen advocacy. R4, with the support of the German Commission for UNESCO, numerous community members and institutions interested in organs were actively involved in all stages of the preparation of this nomination file and expressed their free, prior, and informed consent. R5, the element was included in the National German Inventory of Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2014. The inventory, maintained by the German National Commission for UNESCO, was drawn up with the active participation of the communities, traditional bearers, and non-governmental organizations concerned. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends to inscribe organ craftsmanship and music on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The committee may remind the state party that references to the universality of an element are not in line with the spirit of the convention. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson, for your very kind introduction of this file. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? Seeing no objection, I therefore declare decision 12.com11.10 adopted. Congratulations, Germany. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Mr. Chairperson, Excellencies, members of the committee, ladies and gentlemen. Germany would like to thank you very much for the positive decision on the inscription of organ craftsmanship and organ music. We would like to thank you on behalf of around 2,800 organ builders and 180 apprentices in 400 workshops in Germany, as well as on behalf of 3,500 full-time and several 10,000 of part-time voluntary organists all over Germany. They all have been very much looking forward to today's decision. Please imagine listening to the joyful sound of about 50,000 organs in Germany, which are located in churches in small villages, up to big concert halls in major cities, playing all at the same time. That sound might be loud enough to be heard even here in Jeju. This inscription from Germany on UNESCO's representative list will definitely boost the motivation to continue promoting the many facets and perspectives of the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage in Germany. To conclude, we would like to express our warm thanks to the Republic of Korea and to the chairperson of the committee, Ambassador Lee, and its team for organizing this committee meeting. You are really wonderful hosts here in Jeju. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Gamsahamnida.
Okay, once again, yeah.
Das größte Musikinstrument mit natürlicher Tonerzeugung, die Orgel, ist heute nahezu überall auf der Welt zu finden. Entstanden vor mehr als 2000 Jahren im hellenistischen Ägypten, kam sie über Byzanz nach Europa, wo sie ihre Heimat fand. Hier haben seit dem Mittelalter bis in die Gegenwart alle wesentlichen technischen und musikalischen Entwicklungen stattgefunden.
Die Ausbildung zum Orgel- und Harmoniumbauer erfolgt in einer 3,5-jährigen Lehrzeit. Nach bzw. während der Tätigkeit als Geselle besteht die Chance, sich zum Meister und danach zum Restaurator fortzubilden. Dabei stehen Theorie und Praxis in einem ausgewogenen Verhältnis zueinander. Der Umgang mit natürlichen Materialien bildet einen Schwerpunkt. Der Beruf des Orgelbauers ist vielfältig. Dazu gehören zum Beispiel die Verarbeitung verschiedener Holzarten, das Gießen von Metallplatten auf Leintuch oder das Löten von Metallpfeifen.
Der Orgelbau beruht noch immer auf den vor Jahrhunderten entwickelten handwerklichen Techniken, integriert jedoch Maschinen und Computer sinnvoll in die Abläufe der Produktion. Die Endfertigung geschieht stets in Handarbeit. Orgeln werden für Jahrzehnte oder gar Jahrhunderte gebaut. Sie sind wahre Monumente der Nachhaltigkeit. Deshalb muss bei der Holzernte in langfristigen Zyklen gedacht werden. Es ist wichtig, welche Hölzer genutzt und wann sie geschlagen werden. Mit ihrer künstlerischen Gestaltung und mit ihrem musikalischen Klang verleiht eine Orgel jedem Raum und jedem Baudenkmal eine zusätzliche Dimension in der Wahrnehmung des Besuchers. Die Orgel fasziniert Menschen sowohl als individuell gestaltetes, technisch komplexes Kunsthandwerk, als auch durch ihre unermesslichen klanglichen Möglichkeiten. Denn zwischen den Entwicklungen im Orgelbau und in der Orgelmusik ist immer eine kreative Wechselwirkung zu konstatieren. Die vielfältigen Kompetenzen um Orgelbau und Orgelmusik in Deutschland führen zu einem Reichtum der Orgelkunst.
Once again, congratulations, Germany. 축하합니다. 감사합니다. We will now move to the examination of the nomination file Lebetiko, submitted by Greece. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that he can share with us the findings of the body on this nomination file. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Rebetiko is a musical and cultural expression directly linked to the song and dance that initially spread among urban working-class populations. Rebetiko songs are now a standardized repertoire in social occasions containing invaluable references to the customs and traditions of a particular way of life. Rebetiko is transmitted orally as well as by the media and in music schools, conservatories, and universities. And musicians and enthusiasts continue to play a key role in keeping the practice alive. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the Intangible Cultural Heritage list of on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. As for R1, Rebetiko is a form of music and dance that is widespread among a vast audience in Greece and other parts of the world, particularly among Greek-speaking people. Rebetiko has a symbolic and aesthetic functions and plays an important role for social identity and collective memory. R2, the inscription of the element would contribute to raising the visibility of intangible cultural heritage at the regional and international levels. Rebetiko is part of a diverse range of urban musical traditions that contribute to the integration of marginalized social groups and refugees, thus fostering intercultural connections. R3 The viability of the element is ensured by the communities, groups, and the individuals concerned through measures such as research, documentation, transmission, and awareness-raising activities. The bearer communities took an active part in the long consultations process, and their views have been noted and included in the safeguarding measures. R4, the meetings organized to obtain consent are well explained with sufficient details provided. Many highly personalized letters of consent are provided describing personal histories behind the element. R5, the element was included in the Greek National Inventory of Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2016 by the Ministry of Culture and Sports, following a series of consultations with Rebetiko community performers, bearers, and researchers. The inventory is to be updated every 5 years. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe Rebetiko on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The committee may invite the state party to actively support initiatives from tradition bearers and practitioners aiming at safeguarding the element. The committee may also commend the state party for the quality of the safeguarding activities, particularly as regards the cooperation between musicians and educational programs in museums. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for your kind introduction. We have not received any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? Seeing no objection, I therefore declare decision 12.com 11.b11 adopted. Congratulations, Greece. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. On behalf of the members of the Rebetiko culture community, I would like to address you in their own words, taken from the lyrics of one well-known Rebetiko song in Greek, but I'm sure the Arab and Turkish-speaking people in the room will relate to one word at least. They will understand the meaning. Όλοι οι ρεμπέτες του Ντουνιά σας ευχαριστούν. All the people of the Rebetiko culture community all over the world, Dunya, thank you. On their behalf, I wish to thank the Korean government for hosting this meeting, the evaluation body for their high-quality work, and the Secretariat for facilitating and running the ICH convention business efficiently as always. The Rebetiko music, song, and dance tradition inscribed today has a long history and draws heavily from a well-spread Eastern Mediterranean music tradition. Some of the most influential people in this tradition in Greece come from diverse ethnic and religious backgrounds. The most important woman singer, for example, in the 1940s and 1950s was Marika Ninu, of Armenian origin. Her interpretations shaped singing and set the rule for the 1920s onwards until today. And another one was Rosa Eskenazi, of Jewish origin, as you can say by her name, and she was the first woman that not only sang, but danced on stage. The first well-known composer of Rebetiko, personal composer known by his name, was Markos Vamvakaris, and he grew up among the urban poor of Syros, home to the second largest Roman Catholic community in Greece, an important port city back then. So what is inscribed today, though, is not the historical trajectory of an element, okay, but the meaning that has for the current community of bears in Greece and everywhere. So thank you very much. for your kind appreciation of the file and your attention. Thank you.
Τα ρεμπέτικα ανέδειξαν σπουδαίους συνθέτες, στιχουργούς, τραγουδιστές και οργανοπαίκτες που μας πρίκησαν με ένα κλασικό πλέον ρεπερτόριο, το οποίο εξακολουθεί να είναι εξαιρετικά δημοφιλές ως τις μέρες μας για ένα μεγάλο τμήμα του ελληνικού λαού, με ιδιαίτερη απήχηση στη νεολαία. Είναι παρόν ως μια ζώσα μουσική παράδοση στη σύγχρονη Ελλάδα και εξακολουθεί να επιτελείται μέσα από πολλές ρεμπέτικες κομπανίες, στα κέντρα, σε φεστιβάλ, στη δισκογραφία, το ραδιόφωνο και την τηλεόραση, τον κινηματογράφο και στα μέσα κοινωνικής δικτύωσης.
Okay, congratulations. We will now move to the examination of the nomination file Kummela, submitted by India. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the EB so that he can share with us the findings of the body on this nomination file. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kumbh Mela, the festival of the sacred pitcher, is a peaceful congregation of pilgrims, during which participants bathe or take a dip in a sacred river. The congregation includes ascetics, saints, sadhus, aspirants, kalpavasis, and visitors. The tradition plays a central spiritual role in the country, encapsulating a diverse range of cultural customs. Knowledge and skills relating to Kumbh Mela are mainly imparted through the teacher-student relationship, but transmission and safeguarding are also ensured through oral traditions and religious and historical texts. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. As for R1, Kumbh Mela, which attracts millions of spiritual seekers and visitors, represents a syncretic set of rituals related to worship and ritual cleansing in holy rivers in India. The file describes the element as an important event in the spiritual lives of Hindus and non-Hindus alike. It is a social ritual and festive event that is closely linked to the community's perception of its own history and memory. R2, the inscription of the element would underline its contribution to cultural diversity and creativity, as well as tolerance and learning, since many of pilgrims that participate have different origins, creeds, and traditions. The inscription of the element would promote respect for dialogue. R3, the viability of the element is primarily ensured by saints and sadhus teaching their disciples about traditional rituals and chants. The state party has established a set of short-term and long-term measures that are implemented with the participation and support of the bearer communities, the government and non-governmental organizations. R4, the nomination was initiated within the community of bearers. The process was supported by the holy men of the various akada, members of temple trusts, non-governmental organizations, eminent scholars, and state party officials, and the stakeholders involved expressed their free, prior, and informed consent to the nomination. R5, Kumbh Mela was included in the National Inventory of Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2016, maintained by the Sangeet Natak Academy. The inventory was drawn up with the active participation of the community bearers. It is accessed through the website link provided and is planned to be regularly updated. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe Kumbh Mela on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The committee may invite the state party to avoid the use of inappropriate vocabulary such as intact and purist form, which runs counter the constant recreation of living traditions. The committee may also encourage the state party to take due consideration in its safeguarding measures of any risks to the elements associated with tourism and increasing visitor numbers, including those impacting the environment. The committee may further encourage the state party, when submitting nomination files in the future, to avoid standardized consent letters, ensuring that they are as varied as possible. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for your very kind introduction and very detailed explanation about this nomination file. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? Seeing no objections, I therefore declare decision 12.com 11.b12 adopted. Congratulations, India. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. We would like to extend our sincerest gratitude to the Secretariat, the evaluation body, and the committee for their efforts towards the inscription of Kumbh Mela, the festival of the sacred picture, the largest peaceful congregation of pilgrims on earth. We take note of the observations made by the evaluation body regarding the use of inappropriate language and standardized consent letters, and will strive to incorporate them in our future nominations. The evaluation body has also expressed its concerns regarding the risks to the element associated with tourism and increased visitor participation. I would like to submit that the Mahakumbh, or the Grand Kumbh Mela held at Allahabad in 2013, saw the participation of 130 million people, of which 30 million arrived in the course of a single day. This reflects that both governmental authorities and community stakeholders have already put in place mechanisms and safeguard measures to ensure continued protection of the element, and will continue to improve upon them in the future. Getting lost or separated from the family during a Kumbh Mela used to be so commonplace that it found its way into the language by means of an idiom. Siblings separated at the Kumbh Mela, still in use to refer to strangers who show remarkable similarities or those who get along surprisingly well. In 2015, during the Mela in Nasik, a web-based lost and found platform or online application called Milap, meaning reunion, was launched to prevent such cases from occurring in the future. It was launched during a technology festival called Kumbhathon, organized for the sole purpose of finding ways to solve Kumbh Mela-related problems by means of technology. This example demonstrates the participation of communities to the festival and the festival's ability to adapt to and benefit from the modern world. The ritual bathing in the holy rivers during the festival is supposed to cleanse an individual of all his sins. This desire to be reborn, to lay the ghosts of the past to rest, and to start afresh. This opportunity to renew oneself is the reason why millions of people from the most ordinary householder to the ash-covered Naga ascetic participate in this festival. I once again not just thank this committee for the inscription of this spiritual journey, but I also invite everyone present here to participate in its next edition. Thank you.
Okay, once again, congratulations to India. Dual option. We will now move to the examination of the nomination. Pinisi Art of Boat Building in South Sulawesi, submitted by Indonesia. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that he can share with us the findings of the body on these nominations. Mr. Skunti.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Pinisi, or the art of boat building in South Sulawesi, refers to the famed Sulawesi schooner and represents the epitome of the archipelago's indigenous sailing craft. Today, boat building centers are located at Tanaberu, Bira, and Batulisin, where shipbuilding and sailing are central to the community's social, economic, and cultural fabric. Knowledge and skills are transmitted from generation to generation, both within and outside of the family circle, and local shipwrights are engaged in active marketing initiatives to safeguarding the practice. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. As for R1, Pinisi, or the art of boat building in South Sulawesi, is a practice involving sophisticated cognitive concepts that outline the three-dimensional form of a ship and its countless components, as well as the advanced social organization necessary to successfully build, operate, and navigate trading vessels. Nowadays, the Pinisi schooner symbolizes erudition and customs and has become an epitome of the archipelago's maritime tradition per se. R2, the inscription of the element would raise awareness of the importance of indigenous knowledge, systems, and local wisdom. Recognition of the art of boat construction and marine culture would promote respect for human creativity, mutual understanding, and intercultural dialogue. R3, around 500 people have been directly employed in the construction and outfitting of the ships, thus contributing to the viability of the element. The proposed safeguarding measures comprise inventorying and documentation, provision of raw materials, preparation of teaching materials, promotion through design and artwork competitions, organization of annual boat festivals, awareness raising among visitors, among other activities. R4, the preparation of the nomination file involved a wide spectrum of relevant stakeholders, including the bearer communities, non-governmental organizations, researchers and academics, government institutions, and public figures, all of whom provided their free, prior, and informed consent to the nomination. As for R5, the evaluation body recognized that the element was included in the inventory list of the cultural wealth of Indonesia in 2010. However, there is no clear explanation of who is responsible for maintaining the inventory or of the involvement of communities, groups, and relevant non-governmental organizations in its drafting. Information on the frequency with which it is updated is also missing in the file. Therefore, it is recommended that the committee refer the nomination of Pinisi, Art of Boat Building in South Sulawesi, to the submitting state party. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for this very detailed explanation of the different issues raised during the evaluation of this file. This is another case of a dual system of draft decisions that we will have to examine during the present session. Pursuant to the working method presented on Monday, the committee has received written information from the submitting state concerning the questions raised by the evaluation body in its recommendation. This written information will be attached for the record to the nomination file. In conformity with the Rule 22.4 of the Rules of Procedure of the Committee, I would like to give the floor to the submitting state to provide us with relevant information regarding the following issues. Institution responsible for maintaining the inventory. Second, involvement of communities, groups, and the relevant non-governmental organizations in its drafting. Third, periodicity of updating of inventory. Allow me to remind the submitting state that its intervention shall be limited to address these very specific issues. Indonesia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to express our appreciation to you and the government of Republic of Korea for hosting this convention in this beautiful island of Jeju. Prior to replying the questions put forward by the evaluation body, please allow me to explain the process of listing Indonesia's intangible cultural heritage. This is reflected on our website, excuse me, at warisanbudaya.kemdikbud.go.id. Indonesia adopts two types of listings of our intangible cultural heritage. The first one, called pencatatan or recorded, is the listing of the intangible cultural heritage listed by communities, groups, individuals, researchers, and so on, from their respective region. By the end of 2016, there are 7,241 elements submitted into the list. The second one, called penetapan or designation or declare, is the list of the intangible cultural heritage taken from the first list after evaluated by the team of experts and declared by the Minister of Education and Culture of the Republic of Indonesia by several decrees. Until 2017, there are 594 elements listed in this list. Having described of the above information, the answer to the questions by the evaluation body are as follows. First of all, both the recorded and the declared lists of the intangible heritage of Indonesia are maintained by the Minister of Education and Culture of the Republic of Indonesia. Second, both lists were created with the involvement of, among others, communities, groups, and non-governmental organizations. Parties who were involved in drafting the file of our PNC have been presented in the email of our last email last Monday as requested. The recorded list can be updated at any time via the website since 2010. In accordance, the declared list with the national status is updated once a year, where the first one was declared on 13 December 2013, and the last one was declared on 29 September 2017. The lists are available on the website. But if you wish to see the declared list, the books on this list are available on our desk for your review. The books are published once a year. I thank you, Chair, for this opportunity.
I thank you, Ambassador Han Mangaraja. And I think it's too cold in Jeju. I think it's 5 or 6 degrees colder than average temperature. Thank you. And the floor is now open to committee members. I recognize Palestine and the Philippines. Palestine first.
Mr. Chair, with your permission, I think that our colleague from Philippines raised his plate before me, so I'll take the floor with your permission after Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you, Palestine. Now, Philippines.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and I thank also our Palestinian colleague. PNIC manifests a long-standing boat-building and navigation tradition in Indonesia. As an archipelagic country, the Philippines share a similar tradition. We would like to thank the State Party for submitting additional information to show that the dossier also meets criterion 5. Cooperation among local and central government officials, academicians, communities, and non-government organizations ensured the inclusion of PNIC in the inventory list of cultural wealth in 2010. According to Indonesia, this inventory list is annually evaluated by a pool of experts on history, folklore, ceremony, and ritual, among others, since 2013. We therefore support the inscription of the element on the representative list and congratulate Indonesia in this regard. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, on my list, there are so many delegations. So, Senegal.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Nous avons ici un élément qui célèbre les savoir-faire et les connaissances autochtones. C'est important. Et ces savoir-faire sont transmis de génération en génération. Et l'implication de toutes les parties prenantes d'une manière très élargie, ONG, dépositaires, praticiens, a été bien notée dans l'évaluation de l'organe que nous saluons. Et je pense que les explications données par l'Indonésie, notamment la première liste réalisée par les communautés et les dépositaires, et la deuxième liste qui fait l'objet d'une sélection du ministère, nous prouve quand même que les parties prenantes, les communautés ont été impliquées dans l'élaboration de ce dossier d'une manière directe et indirecte. Et de ce point de vue, et compte tenu également de ces livres qu'on vient de nous montrer, et vraiment de l'explication très claire de l'Indonésie que 2013-2017, il y a eu quand même la mise à jour et l'enregistrement, il serait dommage de ne pas inscrire un pareil élément, surtout qu'il célèbre, je le répète, des savoir-faire autochtones transmis de génération en génération. Je vous remercie.
Palestine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And finally, it will be very quick. I would like to thank the delegation of Philippines and Senegal for their intervention, because now I have nothing to add to what have been said. Only one thing, that I strongly support the option of inscription of this element. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Palestine. There are so many speakers on my list: Republic of Korea, Cote d'Ivoire, Cyprus, Saint Lucia, Ethiopia, Colombia, Afghanistan, Algeria, Bulgaria, Hungary, and yeah, so Turkey. Yeah. Cyprus. So, if you want to make some supportive statement, other than your supportive statement, so raise who wish to raise a very specific questions to Indonesia, or some express some opposing the views. Otherwise, you will be duly recorded in our verbatim summary records. Hungary. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I believe we are ready to move to the adoption of the decision para by para. As customary, para 1 criteria R1, R2, R3, R4, no objections. So para 1 and para 2 adopted. Based on interventions from members of the committee, it seems that we are now satisfied that the information considered as missing by evaluation body has been provided by the submitting state at the present session. Can we consider criterion R5 as proposed under the inscription option? Para 3 is a kind of a standard form that we created containing R5, seeing no objection. So whole para 3 adopted. Can we consider para 4, para 5, para 6 all together? No amendments. I see no objections. So para 4, 5, 6 adopted. Can we then adopt the decision as a whole as amended? Seeing no objection, I therefore declare decision 12.com, 11.b, 13 adopted as amended. Congratulations. Congratulations, Indonesia. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, for allowing us to give a statement after inscribing our file, PNIC, the art of boat building in South Sulawesi, on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of UNESCO. Indonesia is very grateful of this decision, and we thank all members of the committee, the secretariat, and also the evaluation body for this decision. We are committed in the preservation and safeguarding of PNIC, the art of boat building of South Sulawesi. We have and will continue to pay attention to the impact of the inscription on the environmental sustainability. We have enforced to plant the trees for the raw materials of the boat, and we will ensure the effective and practical transmission of the relevant know-how on boat buildings to our younger generation. Among us is the Deputy Regent of the Bulukumba, where PNIC has been built for generations since the 14th century. I would like to ask him to say a few words. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of the people of our Regency of Bulukumba, the province of South Sulawesi, and the people of Indonesia, I would like to thank you again for the inscription of PNIC. We believe this decision supports us more confidence and to help us to protecting and preserving our culture and tradition. Thank you.
Pembuatnya kapal PNIC orang Ara asli. Sudah tradisi mulai dari nenek moyang, pembikin perahu jangan ada punah.
Kalau masalah tekniknya itu yang kita harus pikirkan masalah kekuatan konstruksi, Pak.
Awalnya pasang lunas, sudah itu pasang papan timba. Sudah gadingnya kerja sentanya. Sudah senta landasan dek. Kita doain, kita arahkan. Semoga kapal ini panjang umurnya. Setelah itu kita adakan lagi itu di dalam, dipusar seperti manusia, supaya istilahnya itu kapal bernapas juga seperti manusia.
Saya menemukan rasa bangga Pak sebenarnya, karena masih bisa melanjutkan kita punya budaya, terutama itu pembuatan kapal itu sendiri. Dari segi kekuatan konstruksi memang sudah tidak diragukan lagi, sudah diakui dunia memang.
Tidak mungkin kalau tidak diakui, orang Amerika berdatangan, orang Spanyol, orang Prancis, orang Inggris, orang Belanda. Kalau tidak diakui, kita punya karya.
Congratulations once again to Indonesia. We will now move to the examination of the nomination Shogun, a horse riding game accompanied by music and storytelling submitted by Iran. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that he can share with us the findings of the body on this nomination file. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Shogun is a horse riding game traditionally played in royal courts and urban fields and accompanied by music and storytelling. In Shogun, two rider teams compete and the aim is to pass the ball through the opposing team's goal post using a wooden stick. Shogun has a strong connection to the identity and history of its bearers and practitioners. It is transmitted informally within the family sphere, as well as by dedicated associations through training and support for local masters. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, the element refers to a traditional horse riding game accompanied by music and storytelling. The file describes the variety of values associated with Shogun, the connection between nature, humankind, and horses that is established, the exhilaration and entertainment value of the game, and the sense of belonging to society and history that it fosters. R2, the inscription of the element would contribute to increasing the visibility of intangible cultural heritage in general and raising awareness of its importance, since the element fosters an interaction and engagement between humankind, nature, oral traditions, and craftsmanship. It would also encourage dialogue both on the national and international level. R3, past and current efforts to safeguard the element have been constantly undertaken. A 5-year safeguarding plan covers funding, seasonal and annual festivals, research activities, publication of booklets, annual tribute ceremonies, establishment of an archive for the element, and training activities for players and apprentices. R4, the nomination file of Shogun has been compiled by an inscription committee formed by the representatives of the 5 provincial associations, the representative of the Office for Inscription of Heritage, and the representative of the Iranian National Commission for UNESCO. Various stakeholders provided their consent to the nomination. R5, the element was included in the National Representative Inventory of Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2010, maintained by the Office for Inscriptions, Preservation and Revitalization of Intangible and Natural Heritage. Drawn up with the participation of the communities concerned, it is updated every 1 to 3 years. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe Shogun, a horse riding game accompanied by music and storytelling, on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. The committee may commend the state party for innovative safeguarding initiatives involving awareness raising among youth through the creative use of multimedia, and invite it to report the outcomes of such initiatives in the following periodic report. The committee may further invite the state party to avoid the use of inappropriate vocabulary and concepts when referring to intangible cultural heritage, such as World ICH list, which may lead to confusion with the 1972 World Heritage Convention. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for this very detailed explanation of different issues raised during evaluation of this file. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? Seeing no objection, I therefore declare decision 12.com, 11.b, 14 adopted. Congratulations, Iran. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. ای رفته به چوگان قضا همچون گو، چپ میخور و راست میرو و هیچ مگو، کان کس که تو را فکند اندر تک پو، او داند و او داند و او داند و او. In the cosmic game of Chogan, you are the ball. The mallet's left and right becomes your call. He who causes your movement, your rise and fall. He is the one, the only one, who knows it all. Omar Khayyam, 1123 AD. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, esteemed members of the committee, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude for the warm hospitality and well organization of the session by the Korean host. It is an honor to be here with an opportunity to bolster friendship, peace, and reconciliation amongst all the member states of the Convention 2003, whose effect will reach the whole world. As mentioned in our nomination file, Chogan, a horse riding games accompanied by music and storytelling, contributes to the visibility of the ICH in general. Chogan is a part of the Iranian worldview, which has managed to showcase the diverse cultural and artistic traits in the shape of a ritual game. One of the capabilities of this game is bolstering connections between humankind, nature, and the horse, using the game, music, and performance. This game is considered to be the game of kings and the kings of games in Iran, and its symbols have managed to ingrain themselves in all the facets of the Iranian day-to-day life, be it the dishes on dinner table, house furnishing, or artworks, and is the most used motif in the Iranian life. The game of polo, which has currently expanded to the majority of the countries in the world, has its roots in the physical part of Chogan. We are very pleased that we are sharing a valuable elements of ICH with the world. Once again, I would like to use this opportunity to express my gratitude towards the Secretariat and all of you. Thank you.
Congratulations once again to Iran. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, before taking up next file, I'd like to say a few words. The first day, I announced, in accordance with para 14 of the Rules of Procedure of the committee, my duty as chairperson is to ensure the smooth conduct of the proceedings and the maintenance of order. This will be my main line of action during our debates. Based upon this guideline, in particular for smooth conduct of the proceedings, I allowed the delegation members to speak a little longer than 2 minutes. But however, as from today, we have introduced a little new system. And I'd like to invite the Secretariat to explain very briefly at a later stage, not now. When one delegation is taking floor upon invitation of chairperson, another delegation just cut in without permission of a chairperson is very bad behavior, damaging, encroaching upon authority of a chairperson. So in my capacity as a chairperson, I express deep regret to the delegation concerned for this kind of very inappropriate misconduct, and the request that this should not be repeated in the future. Finally, I think that my final remarks were misunderstood because I couldn't finish my statement to the end. I didn't mean it. Having said this, I'd like to invite Mr. Secretary just to briefly introduce new system.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. This is to inform the room that should, as of today, should the chairperson request that a microphone be cut, all microphones will be cut in the room at the same time. Thank you.
We will now move to the examination of the nomination, art of crafting and playing with the kamancha, a bowstring musical instrument submitted by Iran and Azerbaijan. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that he can share with us the findings of the body on these nominations. Mr. Chairperson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The art of crafting and playing kamancha, little bow, a bowed string instrument, has existed for over 1,000 years. In the Islamic Republic of Iran and Azerbaijan, it is a major element of classical and folkloric music, and performances occupy a central place in many gatherings. Kamancha is both a key source of earning a living and a strong part of the community's living heritage. Knowledge relating to the art of crafting and playing kamancha is transmitted both within families and in musical institutions. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, the art of crafting and playing with kamancha is practiced and transmitted both as an expression of vernacular culture and as a professional art. It represents a strong source of cultural identity, including for many Iranians and Azerbaijanis living abroad. R2, the inscription of an element made up of various arts would raise awareness about the diversity and manifold expressions of intangible cultural heritage. The inscription would also strengthen cultural ties and dialogue between both amateur and professional craftspeople and performers in the two countries, as well as between their audiences. R3, in both countries, communities have undertaken various efforts to ensure the viability of the element. Submitting states parties plan to apply to the existing legislation and institutional framework to allocate funds and human resources and to avoid large-scale and controlled production of the instrument. R4, the nomination of the element was carried out at the initiative of the community in collaboration with other stakeholders and coordinated by the Iran House of Music. The community members declared their free, prior, and informed consent to the joint nomination by the two states. R5, the element was included in the National Inventory List of Intangible Cultural Heritage of the Islamic Republic of Iran in 2014, maintained by the Office of Inscriptions and Preservation and Revitalization of Intangible and Natural Heritage, and updated every 1 to 3 years. The element was included in the Register of Intangible Cultural Heritage of Azerbaijan in 2013, supervised by the Documentation and Inventory Board, and was last updated in 2015. Both state parties demonstrated the involvement of the communities concerned in drawing up the inventories. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe art of crafting and playing with kamancha, a bowed string musical instrument, on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The committee may commend the states parties for the inclusion in the safeguarding measures of a committee established to monitor the impact of the increased visibility resulting from an inscription. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Skunti, for this very detailed explanation of the different issues raised during the evaluation of this file. The Bureau did not receive amendment for this file. I recognize the Armenia. Armenia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Armenia cannot agree to this draft decision as a whole or to any of its paragraphs. We are against the adoption of this draft decision, and therefore Armenia dissociates itself from this decision and requests that this statement be reflected in the summary records. At the same time, I would like to congratulate the Islamic Republic of Iran for presenting such an impeccable dossier. Armenia wouldn't have dissociated if there weren't inaccuracies contained in the second half of this nomination file. Iran has done a meticulously fine job with its part of the nomination file. In 2012, the 300th anniversary of the birth of Sayat Nova was celebrated in association with UNESCO. He was a poet, musician, and virtuoso kamancha player whose art was renowned through the Caucasus and brought people closer to each other. He sang in Armenian, Georgian, Farsi, and Turkish. Now, this is what I call a multinationalism. And one final rhetoric question. As the Azerbaijani permanent representative yesterday confirmed the fact that he has no access to Karabakh, how do they, over the last few decades, organize the famous state finance workshop in Shushi? For the last 3 decades, Shushi is financed from the state budget of Artsakh. This is a rhetorical question. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Armenia. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file? I recognize Turkey. Yeah, Turkey, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We welcome that an element of a file that has also been practiced, especially in the north of Turkey, under the name exactly Kemençe, has been presented by Azerbaijan and Iran for its inscription to the representative list of Intangible Cultural Heritage for Humanity. Kemençe, which is a major folkloric instrument, occupies a central role in the identity of mostly Black Sea people of Turkey. The art of playing and crafting is transmitted from generations to generations. It is also registered in our inventory. As obvious, Kemençe is yet another element shared across different countries. As such, it is an ideal element for a possible multinational file as well. On this occasion, we invite all states parties to make use of their shared elements through international multinational files in order to facilitate dialogue between cultures and communities. And Turkey will be happy to join the extended file in the future if the states parties so consider. However, at a time where almost all UNESCO members are concerned about the increasing politicization of this organization and repeatedly calling for dialogue, mutual understanding, and respect for each other, regretfully, we have yet again at another committee meeting hijacked by one country purely on political grounds. Since yesterday, committee members are once again held hostage to the political claims of one single country. We're not here to accommodate the political interest of one state party who does not act in goodwill and act against the principles of this convention. As committee members, our responsibility is to make sure that interventions are in line with the spirit of this convention. We call on the committee not to allow the consideration of such bilateral political problems in our meetings, but focus on the elements and its contribution to the intangible cultural heritage for humanity. Let me conclude by warmly congratulating Azerbaijan and Iran for successfully presenting this old tradition of our region for a possible inscription into the representative list of intangible cultural heritage for humanity. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? Seeing no objection, I therefore declare decision 12.com, 11.b, 15 adopted. Congratulations, Iran and Azerbaijan. Now I give the floor first to Iran, and the floor is yours for 2 minutes.
In the name of God, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, esteemed member of the committee, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I avail myself of the opportunity once again to share my joy for inscription of our nomination file co-proposed with the Republic of Azerbaijan, Kemençe or Kemençe, about a string musical instrument in harmony with our persistent belief in promoting the spirit of the convention as well as our appreciation of shared cultural diversity. This nomination file can be another practical step in this direction. Therefore, we certainly welcome the other member states who share the same element to the nomination file to join us. Then, I would like to express my thanks and send my sincere congratulations to our Azeri colleagues whose heartfelt efforts in co-preparing the nomination is once again proved. It is known that the field of music is so rich and diverse that the more you work in it, the less your efforts seem. So I let the magical sound of the Kemençe to speak for itself. Finally, as the Islamic Republic of Iran sees the ICH as an important and effective vehicle for rapprochement of diverse cultures, we express our readiness for more active and practical cooperation for multinational nomination file. Thank you very much.
Now I give the floor to Azerbaijan. Just 1 minute of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would like to thank you for your clarifications. It was very important to know that. When it comes to the yesterday incident, I would like to say that I feel sorry for the emotions. It was not my intention, but it was rather first reaction to the misconduct and unethical behavior. It is not my culture, and I apologize for that. When it comes to the comments made by certain delegates, it is really so disgusting that I don't want to even to comment and to respond to them. I leave it to this House to judge. We would like to thank most profoundly the delegation of Islamic Republic of Iran for cooperation and excellent coordination of work, and express our deep gratitude to the committee for inscribing Kamancha art on the representative list. This is actually a historical moment for Kamancha. This is actually a historical moment for Kamancha practitioners to see their heritage recognized at the international level and jointly with communities from Islamic Republic of Iran. The inscription of Kamancha art celebrates the unity and diversity of the heritage for the sake of peace and mutual respect. It demonstrates how a single intangible heritage element shared across borders can help communities to accept each other's differences. This nomination represents an exemplary form of contribution to enhancing international cooperation, one of the core principles of this convention. And this is what Azerbaijan is doing for many years to prepare the joint nomination files with the neighboring countries. And in this spirit, I invite Turkey and other countries where this element exists to join this multinational nomination. I thank you very much.
Congratulations, Iran and Azerbaijan, for your nominations. The video? We will now move to the examination of the nomination William Piping, submitted by Ireland. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that he can share with us the findings of the body on this nomination file. Mr. Skunti.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. William piping is a musical practice in which a particular type of bagpipe known as Willian, Irish, or Union pipes is used to play traditional music. Bearers and practitioners include participants of all ages dispersed throughout the world. Willian piping offers an important way of socializing, providing a sense of rootedness and connection to the past. Knowledge and skills are transmitted using both long-established and modern practices, and the practice is primarily safeguarded through the efforts of the group Na Purabairi William. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, the practice is recognized within bearer communities and more broadly as part of Irish heritage. It is informed by a centuries-old tradition and is constantly evolving. For community members, the element forms a very strong and valuable bond, allowing them to take pride in a native form of cultural expression and consequently enjoy a sense of self-worth. R2, the inscription of the element would help raise awareness about the values of indigenous art forms. It would also hasten the visibility of the element and in turn of living heritage in general. As this is the first nomination from Ireland, the inscription would foster discussions on the importance of living heritage in the country. R3, since 1968, the non-governmental organization of the Society of Irish Pipers, NPU, has carried out the safeguarding activities with constant and active support from the bearer communities and the government agencies. Measures include transmission, an instrument bank, a historical house for the activities in Dublin, educational activities, and awareness raising, among other measures. R4, through the NPU, the communities concerned were central to the nomination process. The input, support, and consent of the communities were openly sought through the NPU's website and publications. The groups and individuals concerned consentedly widely across the country through highly personalized letters. As for the criterion R5, the evaluation body recognized that the element was included in the interim national inventory of intangible cultural heritage in 2016, supervised by the Department of Arts, Heritage, and Gatelact. However, the nomination file doesn't demonstrate clearly how the inventory was drawn up with the participation of the communities, groups, and non-governmental organizations concerned. Moreover, it doesn't indicate how regularly the inventory is updated. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends that the committee refer the nomination of William Pipin to the submitting state. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I would like to give the floor to the submitting stage to provide us with the relevant information regarding the following issues: participation of communities in the inventorying process. Second, periodicity with which the inventory is updated. As customary, let me remind the submitting state that its intervention shall be limited to address these very specific issues. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. As this is Ireland's first time to take the floor, I want to thank the Government of Korea and Jeju for your generous hospitality and very warm welcome. As you will be aware, this is Ireland's first application for inscription. The application has generated huge interest and excitement within the uilleann piping community and within the wider traditional music community in Ireland. Once Ireland ratified the Convention on the 22nd of December 2015, the Minister for Culture moved to put in place an interim national inventory, as provided for in Article 11b of the Convention. This was to enable Ireland to respond quickly to the requests from a number of communities for recognition under the Convention. A steering group met on the 22nd of February 2016, and since then the Minister has moved to put in place this on a more formal basis with a national call recently issued. This national call is an invitation across communities to nominate through an application system available on the website of the Department of Culture any element of intangible cultural heritage that they believe meets the specific criteria. The call for applications will remain open until the 31st of January 2018. Applications arising from this process will be considered by an expanded advisory steering committee comprising practitioners and experts with equal gender balance from the field of intangible cultural heritage, who will meet in spring 2018 to discuss these applications. The open call procedure will recur every 2 years, following which the inventory will be updated with the new elements being added to the existing 2 elements, of which LM piping is one. The piping community were fully consulted in the preliminary process of drafting the application prior to submitting same to the initial steering group, and actually it was the community of pipers who encouraged its representative organisation, Nipibri to seek UNESCO accreditation as a recognised NGO in 2014. Thank you.
Thank you, Ireland. The floor is now open to committee members. Turkey, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks to Ireland for their explanation. First of all, I would like to express this. We think that William Piping, the first nomination file of the Ireland who ratified ICH Convention a short while ago in 2015, is prepared well in the general scope. Besides that, we consider Ireland, who constitutes the inventory system recently, having met some problems in the inventorial process. It should be taken into consideration insightfully by the committee. We found to Ireland's explanation about criteria R5 are clear and satisfactory for the inscription of the elements. Thank you.
Thank you, Turkey. Now, Mauritius.
Chair, I think that the explanation given is quite clear, and we subscribe to the explanation given, and we support the application.
Thank you. I give floor now to Cyprus.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, et merci à l'État partie pour les informations complémentaires qu'il nous a données. Et on appuie fortement cette candidature pour une première inscription et on les encourage de continuer. Merci.
Yeah, thank you so much. On my list, there are Turkey, Cyprus, Hungary, Mauritius, Mongolia, Palestine, Bulgaria, Republic of Korea, Saint Lucia, Algeria, Zambia, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire. So, Lebanon. Are there any delegation members, Congo also, expressing some different views or raise specific questions? Others, your names will be duly recorded on a summary records. Thank you so much. All included? Okay, thank you so much. I believe we are ready to move to the adoption of the decision para by para. Just like the previous case, para 1, R1, R2, R3, R4, no amendments. Seeing no objections, all these paras are adopted. Para 1 and para 2 as a whole adopted. Based on interventions from members of the committee, it seems that we are now satisfied that the information considered as missing by the evaluation body has been provided by the submitting state at the present session. Can we consider criterion R5 as proposed under the inscription option adopted? It's the same as before. It's a standard form. No comments. Seeing no objection, para 3 as a whole adopted. Para 4 and 5, no amendments. I think no objection. Para 4 and para 5 adopted. Can we Then adopt the decision as a whole as amended. Seeing no objection, I therefore declare decision 12.com, 11.b, 16 adopted as amended. Congratulations, Ireland. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
On behalf of the Government of Ireland, I would like to thank the members of the committee, the Secretariat and the evaluation body for their efforts on our submission of Uillm piping. We are deeply honoured to have our first element inscribed on the UNESCO representative list of the ICH of humanity. Ireland is a country with a strong tradition of sharing our culture around the world. We understand the importance of safeguarding, respecting and passing on our living culture in its many forms. I would in particular like to thank Na Píobarí Éileann, the bearers of the tradition of Uillm piping, for their efforts over many years to not only strengthen and develop this tradition, but to ensure its transmission to new generations. Their support of and involvement with this process was essential to its success. This inscription is only the start of further engagement by Ireland with the work of UNESCO and this committee, and we are truly grateful. Go raibh míle maith agaibh go léir.
The Uillm pipes are a woodwind reed instrument that were developed in around the 1700s. They were called Irish pipes or union pipes, but now today they're more commonly called Uillm pipes because you use your elbow to press the bellows, and the Irish word for elbow is Uillm. They were developed from the pastoral pipes, which had a slightly longer chanter. Our chanter is a little bit shorter, which means that you can sit down and place the chanter on your knee on a leather pad. The leather pad seals the bottom of the chanter, which means that you can play the second note by putting a little bit more pressure on the reed.
Congratulations once again to Ireland. We will now move to the examination of the nomination Art of Neapolitan Pizzaiolo submitted by Italy. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that we can share the findings of the body on these nominations. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The art of the Neapolitan pizzaiolo is a culinary practice consisting of 4 different phases relating to the preparation of the dough and its baking in a wood-fired oven. The practice originates in Naples, where around 3,000 pizzaioli now live and perform, and plays a key role in fostering social gatherings and intergenerational exchange. Knowledge and skills related to the element are primarily transmitted in the bottega of the pizzaiolo, where young apprentices can observe their master at work. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, the element represents the culinary know-how related to pizza making, involving gestures, songs, facial expressions, local slang, the skills of manipulating pizza dough, performing and sharing. The bearers and the guests engage in a social ritual with the pizzaiolo, whose bench and oven serve as a stage during the pizza making process. R2, the inscription of the element would point to the importance of food traditions as strong identity markers that are easily accessible to a wide audience from different cultural backgrounds. The skills involved are a testimony to the creativity of the practitioners. It would further foster dialogue between the community concerned, both in Italy and worldwide. R3, the viability of the element has so far been ensured by the communities concerned through a wide range of activities. The safeguarding measures proposed include educational programs and vocational training, the international exhibition of Pizzaiolo Napolitano, research and cultural mapping, collecting oral histories of master bearers, mobile application related to the element, among other measures. R4, the nomination has been prepared by the Association of Napolitan Pizzaioli and the Ministry of Agriculture, with the participation of community members, including related associations, scholars, experts, and primary schools. A support has been testified to the nomination, including children's artworks, together with other consent letters. R5, the element is included in the 2010 in the National Inventory of Artisans and Traditional Techniques, and in 2012 in the National Register of Traditional Knowledges established by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Forestry Policies. The office responsible for the artisan inventory is the National Committee for the Promotion and Preservation of Italian Foodstuffs and Practices. It was drawn up with the participation of communities, groups, and relevant non-governmental organizations, and is updated annually. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe Art of Neapolitan Pizzaiolo on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The committee may remind the state party to avoid expressions such as authenticity, counterfeit, geographic origin, as well as any reference to exclusive ownership of intangible cultural heritage. The committee may underline that safeguarding measures aiming at preserving the authenticity of an element of intangible cultural heritage are not in line with the spirit of the Convention and would contradict the evolving nature of living heritage, which is by definition constantly recreated by the communities concerned. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'm very grateful to Mr. Skunti for his very kind introduction about this pile of pizza. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? Seeing no objection, I therefore declare decision 12.com 11.b 17 adopted. Congratulations, Italy. Now floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Merci. Merci, Monsieur le Président. Au nom de mon pays, je souhaite exprimer mes plus vifs remerciements aux membres du comité pour l'inscription de l'élément l'arte del pizzaiolo napoletano dans la liste représentative. C'est un honneur, mais aussi une grande satisfaction de voir ainsi reconnu le travail de plusieurs années qui a vu l'implication directe et passionnée des communautés concernées. L'arte del pizzaiolo napoletano est un savoir-faire très particulier, très ancien, je dirais une émotion que l'Italie a fait connaître au monde entier. Et une émotion qui est transmise de génération en génération et qui évolue sans cesse, se transforme et s'enrichit en réaction à l'environnement et aux conditions de vie. L'Italie est fortement convaincue que le patrimoine dans son ensemble et le patrimoine intangible en particulier est le socle de la diversité culturelle mondiale, cette diversité si essentielle pour assurer un avenir durable à l'humanité, notamment aujourd'hui, face à la menace d'uniformisation de culture. Et je termine en réitérant l'engagement de mon gouvernement à l'égard de la Convention de 2003, dans la conviction que la préservation de notre patrimoine immatériel dans toute sa diversité est un instrument fondamental pour favoriser le rapprochement, les dialogues, la cohésion sociale, les sentiments d'appartenance et la paix. Et j'ai ici l'occasion pour exprimer le remerciement aux pizzaioli napolitains qui sont réunis à Naples aujourd'hui, en ce moment, en attendant cette inscription. Buongiorno Napoli e viva l'arte del pizzaiolo napoletano.
Ok, félicitations à l'Italie. Je vous remercie de votre présence, l'ambassadeur Vincenza. Now we will move to the examination of the nomination Kokboru traditional horse game submitted by Kyrgyzstan. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that he can share with us the findings of the body on this nomination. Mr. Skunti.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Kokboru, a horse game, is a synthesis of traditional practices, performances, and the game is played by 2 teams on horseback who compete by trying to score as many ulaks, molded in modern-day games, into their opponent's goal as possible. The element is an expression of the cultural and historic tradition of its practitioners and unites communities regardless of social status. Related knowledge and skills are primarily transmitted through demonstration as well as during festive and social events. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, Kokboru is a traditional nomadic game involving humans and horses and reflecting their close relationship. It constitutes an important dimension of cultural heritage of the communities concerned in Kyrgyzstan. The element fosters and transmits a strong code of ethics, including notions of teamwork, patience, and mutual respect. R2, The inscription of the element would raise the visibility of a traditional form of social and spiritual entertainment. It would also reinforce the feelings of pride and self-respect of practitioners of traditional sports by highlighting the relevance of such practices in modern societies. R3, past and current measures to safeguard the element include transmission of traditional knowledge and skills, research and documentation activities resulting in publications such as practical guides developed by practitioners, among other measures. R4, through a series of consultative meetings, the communities, bearers, and practitioners of Kokboro participated actively in all stages of the preparation of the nomination file and gave their consent to the nomination of the element, as demonstrated by the consent letters attached. R5, Kokboro was included in the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Inventory in 2015 under the responsibility of the government of Kyrgyz Republic, carried out with the participation of representatives of regional federations and communities. The inventory is updated once every 3 years. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe Kokboro, traditional horse game, on the representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. The committee may remind the state party to pay specific attention to the linguistic quality of the file and to avoid inappropriate terms that contradict the spirit of the convention, such as the notion of world culture. The committee may commend the state party for the submission of an improved file following the referral of the nomination in 2015. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Scuti, again for your kind introduction about this file. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file. May I therefore ask the committee to adopt draft decision on this file as shown on the screens as a whole? Seeing no objection, I therefore declare decision 12.com, 11.b, 19 adopted. Congratulations, Kyrgyzstan. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Thank you. Dear Chairperson, committee members, representatives of state parties, NGO and observers, let me, on behalf of the Kyrgyz Republic, express gratitude to the government of the Republic of Korea and to the administration of Jeju Island for the excellent organization of committee's work. I would like, on behalf of my country, to thank the evaluation body members for the excellent work in evaluating all nominations, including our, and also many thanks to all committee members for understanding and support of our cultural heritage element. Let me note, this year the evaluation body has positively evaluated the nomination files from several countries of our region, Central Asia. In this regard, we would like to thank the Secretariat for the capacity building program. This program has allowed to raise the national capacity level in the field of safeguarding ICH, more specifically in improving the quality of proposed nominations. Ladies and gentlemen, today, hundreds of Gugbaruchu practitioners, whom we call Ulakchi, and thousands of game lovers and followers throughout the country share in our joy in regard to the inscription of our traditional horse game into the representative list of humanity. In this regard, I want to thank our community that safeguard the traditional game, develop and pass it from generation to generation. This nomination would not have been possible without their courage and dedication to the game. Once again, we would we would like to thank you to all who contribute to the organization of the committee's work, and we wish everybody productive and successful session in the coming days. We all have a diverse heritage, but we have a common goal to safeguard this heritage diversity. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kyrgyzstan, once again. Now let's move to the examination of the nomination Khmer Music of the Lao People, submitted by Lao People's Democratic Republic. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that we can share the findings of the body on this nomination. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Khmer music of the Lao people is played with a mouth organ that resembles panpipes, but made with bamboo tubes of varying lengths. It is integral to Lao life and promotes family and social cohesion. Families play an important role in transmitting the art, and associations exist in many communities where young people can learn the related skills. To maintain the practice, several local communities and groups have taken up various initiatives to safeguard the element through formal and non-formal education. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies as follows the criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, the Khmer music is practiced widely in many different communities and in numerous settings, including during village festivals, accompanying traditional songs and dances, and at various community and religious ceremonies. It holds diverse functions and meanings within the traditional folk culture of Lao people. R2, the inscription of Khmer music and its performance would encourage international dialogue across the country and in other countries. It would also demonstrate the relevance of living heritage for creativity and sustainable development in general. R3, through a series of consultations and successive workshops organized by the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, the representatives of the communities, associations and individuals concerned participated actively in all stages of the preparation of the nomination. However, the evaluation body considers that the information included in the file is not sufficient to conclude that the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity are satisfied. R3, several local communities, associations, groups, or persons have undertaken educational or promotional activities. The government has created a national action plan and adequate policies for the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage. However, the nomination file doesn't present any safeguarding measures to be implemented in the future. The measures listed have already been undertaken and also appear to have been designed in a top-down approach. They also seem to be generic rather than specifically designated for the element in question. As for R5, the element was included in the inventory as reviewed in 2013 and approved in 2014 with the participation of communities. Nevertheless, it is not clear from the file how the inventory is regularly updated and which body is responsible for maintaining it. There is also no relevant extract from the inventory. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends that the committee refer the nomination of high music of the Lao people to the submitting state party. The committee may remind the state party, should it wish to resubmit the nomination during a following cycle, of the need to provide information in the appropriate sections within the file. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sconti, for your kind explanation recommending referral on this file. Now, the floor is now open to committee members. A resolution, maybe, on the screen. I recognize distinguished delegate of Armenia. You have the floor.
Thank you. The delegation of Armenia supports the nomination of Lao People's Democratic Republic as evidence of intangible cultural heritage of the country. Meanwhile, suggests the country to provide some explanations regarding of safeguarding measures of the element. Thank you.
After receiving 3 questions, I will get back to give the opportunity to Laos to respond. So I now invite distinguished delegate of Cyprus. You have the floor, madam.
Thank you, Mr. President. Cyprus has received further explanations from the state party which satisfy us. So we would like to support the nomination. The explanations for both the safeguarding measures and the inventory are satisfactory for us. Thank you.
Any further request for floor? Okay, Palestine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Indeed, we received some information about R5 and R3. And for R5, it was clearly satisfactory. For R3, we would like to listen to some missionary state party with your permission in order to support the inscription. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Before giving the floor to Cuba, Cuba is the last speaker, or anybody else? Okay, so Zambia, Cuba, Zambia. So before giving the floor to Cuba, I'd like to invite the Laos to respond to the questions raised by our committee members. Now, Laos, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Chères Mesdames, chers Messieurs, en ma qualité de représentant de la République démocratique populaire Laos, je tiens à apporter des précisions importantes suite aux remarques formulées sur les sections 3, R3 et R5 et notre dossier de candidature afin de lui offrir cette année une vision favorable et d'éviter ainsi pour nos comités de praticiens et pour nos populations une grande déception qui serait due ou des raisons indépendantes de notre volonté. Cette candidature est la première que présente notre pays. Il a été décidé lors de la précédente session du comité intergouvernemental qui s'est tenue conférence à Addis Abeba, Éthiopie, qui si certains dossiers candidats soulevaient des questions aux yeux des experts, les États concernés seraient consultés afin d'apporter des précisions nécessaires. Or, jusqu'aujourd'hui, aucune demande ne nous est parvenue par courrier postal ou électronique. C'est donc à notre plus grande surprise que j'ai pu prendre connaissance de vos attentes seulement après mon arrivée sur l'île de Jeju. C'est pourquoi je me permets de faire appel à bienveillance et à votre compréhension en vous priant de bien vouloir prendre en compte nos éléments de réponse. Pour le R3 mesures de sauvegarde à venir non mentionnées sur le formulaire. Au préalable, notons que certaines mesures de sauvegarde déjà formulées sur le document transmis s'étendent au-delà de l'année 2017. Nous n'avons pas pleinement nécessairement reçu le conseil nécessaire à pleine maîtrise de certaines subtilités du document sur aspect R3, pleinement maîtrise par certains pays déjà expérimentés en matière de préparation de dossiers. En concurrence, je vous remercie de bien vouloir prendre en compte des 3 mesures de sauvegarde que nous nous engageons à mener dès 2018. Première, création d'un site internet dédié aux musiques, chants et danses traditionnelles du peuple lao qui valorisera la musique du Ken et qui intégrera certaines informations déjà recueillies sous forme de vidéos. Cette création est prévue dans le cadre du plan quinquennal 2018 jusqu'à 2023 de notre pays. Lancement une consultation des jeunes praticiens afin de recueillir des témoignages et de favoriser la réflexion de leur expression en partenariat avec les écoles, les associations concernées. Ces témoignages qui seront conservés en format vidéo et par transcription écrite donneront lieu à public seront mis en ligne sur le site internet subventionné. Dans le cadre des diverses associations de telles la musique, dansa et art mélodique du Ken, et avec le soutien de ministère de l'Information et de la Culture et du ministère de l'Éducation, sera lancé un projet de formation à fabrication du Ken. Des ateliers de formation qui seront organisés pendant les vacances scolaires seront animés par les praticiens, apprentissage des gestes, connaissance et utilisation des matières premières nécessaires à la fabrication de l'instrument, etc. Ce projet est également prévu dans le cadre du plan quinquennal 2018-2023. Diverses mesures sont mises en œuvre pour protéger et promouvoir l'élément. Il faut souligner en outre que des jeunes générations s'y s'intéressent de plus en plus. Ils incarnent l'appartenance à une culture commune et vivante, offrent un loisir collectif très apprécié et partagé avec bonheur, permet de s'étendre naturellement, loin de toute consommation de drogue, etc. Ils bénéficient ainsi d'un large soutien des villageois, l'Union des personnes âgées, l'Union des femmes, Lao, et Association des arts, spectacles, etc. C'est-à-dire de plusieurs communautés intéressées. Merci, Mesdames, Messieurs et Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Laos. Now I give the floor to distinguished delegate of Cuba.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Nous sommes satisfaisants de les informations qui viennent de donner les représentants de Laos. Et nous avons bien reçu aussi l'information par écrite. Je pense que c'est un élément très important pour la culture de ces pays. Aussi, il y a un élément en question de différence aussi. C'est les premiers dossiers qui présentent. Et ça, il y a une valeur ajoutée pour ces pays, pour ces communautés. Et nous sommes pour l'inscription de cet élément. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Cuba. Now I invite distinguished representative of Zambia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We would like to support the nomination of Lao, but also to observe that maybe next time they need to be prepared so that they share the information well in advance for the committee members to be able to make an informed decision. You saw even Palestine, is it Pakistan? We're also in the dark about RR3. We have no idea about the explanation of both RR3 and RR5. So we'll support what Cuba was saying, that if we put this in writing, maybe it validates our support for the nomination. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Zambia. Now, Congo.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je crois qu'avec les informations qui ont été apportées par la République de Laos, notamment sur le R3 et le R5, il serait souhaitable que nous attachions de l'importance à cette candidature en lui accordant le maximum de chances de telle sorte que l'inscription soit faite. Je vous remercie.
Okay, thank you. I believe we are ready to move to the adoption of the decision para by para. Can we consider para 1 adopted? No amendment. A little scroll down. Para 1, no comment. Is adopted. What are you doing? Para 2 regarding R1. I think there will be no objection. Adopted. R2 not missing, so no objection. No, R2 is okay. Yeah, R2 adopted. R3. R4. First, R4. We are. R3 is missing, but R4 first. R4, I think, no objection. So R4 adopted. Para let's go for R3, para 3, R3. There is no amendment, original form. Yeah, R3 first. Now I'd like to invite your committee members to comment. No comment. No comment. Okay, R3 as it is adopted. R5, R4 already adopted. Any amendment or any comment? I see none. R5 adopted. Okay, para 3, yeah, para 2, para 1 and para 2 as a whole we already adopted. No, not 2. 2 as a whole we adopted. Not yet. Why not yet?
Because we did R1, R2, R3, but not para 2. At this stage they are.
Yeah, scroll down. Scroll down, please. R1, R2, adopted. R4, adopted. Why not? Yeah, para 2 is adopted as a whole.
Well, you have to tell us. Okay.
Yeah, para 2 as a whole, adopted. Here are R3, R5, we already adopted. No, I recognize the representative from Cyprus.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je ne crois pas qu'on peut adopter les paragraphes 3 et 5 sans des amendements, puisque normalement, ils disent qu'ils n'est pas satisfait les advisory body. Donc, normalement, on doit modifier le texte. Merci.
Thank you, Cyprus. Now, St. Lucia, followed by Armenia. St. Lucia first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's virtually the same point I was making. If we adopt this like that and then go and inscribe, this will be an embarrassment. So a number of I would appeal to the members who were satisfied with the explanations given to propose amendments to this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, St. Lucia. Now, I think it's time just to give the Secretariat to reply to very important and specific question. Okay, now, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wish to remind the committee we are not in a dual option scenario here, and that for a file to be inscribed, all 5 criteria must be inscribed. Once you decide to inscribe a paragraph which means that the file does not mean it meets a criteria, you cannot then adopt inscription.
Armenia, followed by Mauritius. Armenia first.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ça a été un peu vite, on n'a pas eu le temps de réagir, mais pour nous, le critère 3 et le critère 5, puisque en plus ça a été présenté au secrétariat, surtout que c'est la mise à jour de l'inventaire et puis les nouvelles mesures de sauvegarde, pour nous c'est complètement, donc il faut changer je suis désolée si c'est possible revenir sur R2, peut-être il faut revenir, sinon voilà. Parce qu'on a déjà passé le R2. Merci.
Okay, thank you, Armenia. So I'd like to request and invite our committee members just to elaborate some the language, the amendments, and the Secretary.
Just to clarify the situation, we have not received written amendments from any committee member or any information on this file for any committee member. From any committee member. Thank you. Of course, the floor may always amend on screen.
But Mr. Secretary, given the situation, I think it's very hard, very difficult for our committee members, right away. They need some time to look over. Okay. Let's continue. Mauritius.
Chair, we are very, I must say, concerned with the situation of the state member, because it's the first time that an inscription is being applied for. But nevertheless, I did not hear the Secretariat respond to the fact that there has been no correspondence sent to the state member regarding whatever had been missing initially, and I wish to have clarification on that point.
Okay, thank you, Mauritius. Mr. Secretary, now we have two options. One, here on the spot, can we look for some solutions? Otherwise, in my opinion, we'd better suspend debate of this file to give some more time to our committee members. And while suspending discussion, deliberation on this item, this file, we can move on to next nomination file. Mr. Secretary, have you anything to add up to my explanation?
Nothing at all, Mr. Chairperson.
If there is no strong objection to my proposal, let me suspend this deliberation on this specific, the Laos file, and to the end of today, maybe. And we will move on to next file. Everybody agrees? Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. We agree with your ruling, but we just think that the Secretariat should respond to the question of the distinguished delegate from Mauritius. Thank you.
The question was whether we received anything from the submitting state. Now, I remind you that that was from the dual option scenario, where submitting states, after the adoption of Agenda Item 2, the Chair invited them to send directly information concerning elements for inscription to the Secretariat. Otherwise, all we receive on any file is amendments to a decision. And amendments, there's no missing or additional information sent in a normal process. The dual option allowed it because the Chair asked for it. Amendments must be sent by committee members. What I am saying is we have received no proposed amendments from any committee member. Thank you.
Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, and we thank Mr. Curtis for the response. But I think the original question was, and I beg the indulgence of our distinguished colleague from Mauritius for kind of interpreting, but I think the question was in response to what the state party asked or mentioned in the distinguished delegate from Laos's remarks, that she said that she had not received information about the recommendations, I think, from the evaluation. So we wanted some clarification on this, and it was not with relation to any of amendments that were or were not received. I think that is the point. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I understand, and that is indeed the normal procedure. The procedure for all nominations is the Secretariat in the first year checks for completeness. The Secretariat makes no analysis of the quality of the file, nor any study of what is in the content of the file. The Secretariat checks that all aspects of the file have been duly filled in and completed. It then, if any elements are missing, and we're not talking again in a substantial sense, but if there are boxes that are not complete, if a required documentation is just simply not there, we send a letter to the state party, who then, and telling them what is missing, and they have until September to return any information in what we call the completeness check. So we do a completeness check in the first year. After that, the file goes to the evaluation body. The evaluation body is the one that actually does the analysis based on the information in the file of whether the information is sufficient to meet the criterion. There is no going back to the member state after that. So, of course, we did not go back to the state party because that is not the procedure that we do with any state party, and we followed the procedure that is established in the guidelines. The Secretariat does not go back to the state party once the evaluation body has made its recommendation. Thank you very much.
Okay, now Cuba.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, et merci à Monsieur Courtet pour l'information qu'il vient de donner. Je pense que tout le monde connaît bien les procédures, et pour ça, est-ce que tout le monde reflète que c'est nécessaire de continuer notre processus de réflexion concernant les procédures, parce que ni la façon qu'on vient de travailler concernant les 12 options, ni ces mécanismes peut-être se plaît pour tout le monde, parce que nous avons adopté pratiquement tous les dossiers, et peut-être on doit continuer à réfléchir parce que tant que les mécanismes du secrétariat ou les mécanismes d'organes d'évaluation, ce n'est pas complet, ce n'est pas suffisant pour nous, mais ça sera peut-être examiné dans d'autres points de l'ordre du jour. Mais je pense qu'on peut travailler sur les projets de décision. On ne peut pas essayer de trouver des autres questions. Si le comité il pense, si le comité est d'accord, on peut travailler sur l'écran. C'est bien que ce n'est pas présenté un projet de résolution, mais on peut travailler sur ça. C'est bien qu'on prend en compte les décisions d'organes d'évaluation, mais nous avons le droit de les faire ici. Nous avons parlé de ça au début de ces réunions quand nous avons pris note de la méthode de travail de ces réunions. Merci.
Thank you, Cuba. Any other comments? Austria.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We just wanted to say that because it now sounds as if the State Party was not informed at all about the missing the missing information under R3 and R5, but I believe the report of the evaluation body was available online at least 4 weeks before this meeting, so it was available, and thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps I'm getting a bit confused. My understanding was during the intervention of the State Party, there was a mention that there was no correspondence received, that we had not fulfilled any, that the file had been referred under R3 and R5. That is the question, am I understanding, is that it's being posed. If that's the question that's being posed, again, that is standard procedure. We never inform we don't write letters to any State Party on the outcome of the evaluation body before the committee has made its decision. And therefore, we simply put the decisions online, and it is the State Party to look online to see what the recommendation of the evaluation body is for the committee to decide on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Cyprus, Armenia.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Merci.
Cyprus, Armenia, Zambia, Palestine. First, Cyprus.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, et merci aussi à Tim pour toutes les clarifications, tout en sachant qu'on connaît très bien la procédure, et je crois qu'il a eu un malentendu avec Laos. Donc, maintenant qu'il est bien clair et qu'elle connaît bien la procédure, est-ce qu'on peut lui laisser le temps de faire les amendements et nous les présenter un peu plus tard? Merci.
Thank you. Armenia.
On est d'accord avec le Chypre et avec, bien sûr, avant avec vous. Laissez-nous un peu de temps, on préparerait et à la fin de la journée, on vous présente. Merci.
Okay, thank you. Palestine first.
Yeah, Palestine.
Zambia. Zambia followed by Palestine. Zambia first.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would like to support what Cyprus suggested, and obviously we should say actually what the chairman suggested, that we suspend this item so that Lao can be given time to provide the information. As it is now, we can't make any decision on information that's not available. So I think I'd like to support what the chairman suggested, and Cyprus supported also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zambia and Palestine and St. Lucia. Palestine first.
Well, actually, Mr. Chair, I think everything has been said. It's also to support your suggestion at the beginning to suspend this item in order not to waste time and to give time for the state party and the members of the committee to deal with it and to submit amendments to the Secretariat. So we can stop here and follow your suggestion. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Palestine. Now, St. Lucia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to support Palestine and say I think we are ready to work on the decision. Just give us some time. We're going to work on amendments. We'll propose the amendments and things. I don't think we should be stretching this thing out as we are doing. Let's go work on the amendments, and we are ready to work on the decision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, St. Lucia. Okay, thank you so much. Malay is at your option. Yeah, as agreed, we will now move to the next file. Nsima Culinary Tradition of Malay, submitted by Malawi. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the EB so that we can share the findings of the body on these nominations. Mr. Skunti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nsima, the culinary tradition of Malawi, is a compound name for the culinary and dietary tradition of Malawians, as well as a single component of this tradition, a form of thick porridge prepared with maize flour. Nsima is prepared through an elaborate process requiring specific knowledge, and eating it is a communal tradition in families. Communities safeguard the element through continued practice, publications, festivals, and revitalization activities. And knowledge is transmitted both informally and through on-the-job training and education. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies the following criteria for inscription on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. R1, Nsima is a culinary dietary tradition accompanied by ritual practices based on the use of thick porridge, which is usually made with maize flour. Its preparation encompasses a specific body of knowledge, skills, and practices concerning nature and the universe. The element plays an essential role in terms of socialization and hospitality. R2, the inscription of Nsima would help to reintroduce this element into culinary practices in towns where people have moved away from the tradition due to modern life. It could therefore contribute to raising awareness among people, as well as to improving their nutritional status. The great diversity of traditions relating to the preparation of food can demonstrate the creativity of practitioners and further inspire bearers of similar culinary practices. R3, the proposed safeguarding activities relate to awareness raising, monograph-oriented research into local variations of Nsima, legal protection, education, training, and monitoring. The communities and groups concerned contribute to ensuring the element's viability by publicizing books of recipes, organizing festivals by tribal chiefs, introducing machine mills into the preparation of Nsima to help lower costs of the practice, and so on. R4, the nomination process completed the previous inventorying process, which lasted for years. through a series of meetings, the communities, groups, and individuals concerned participated actively in all stages of the preparation of the nomination. As for criterion R5, the evaluation body recognized that the element was included in the inventory of Malawi's intangible cultural heritage in 2013, which was created by the Department of Arts and Crafts in collaboration with museums of Malawi, the National Commission for UNESCO, and representatives of 8 tribal communities. However, the file doesn't demonstrate clearly the office, agency, organization, or body responsible for maintaining these inventories and how regularly they are updated. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends that the committee refer the nomination of Nsima, culinary tradition of Malawi, to the submitting state party. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. This is another case of a dual system of draft decision that we will have to examine during today's meeting. So I'd like to give the floor to the submitting state to provide us with relevant information regarding the following issues. The first, body responsible for the inventory. Second, periodicity of updating of inventory. Let me remind the submitting state that its intervention shall be limited to address these specific issues. The Malay, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity that the committee, through you, has given us to respond to the evaluation body's 2 questions. And I would like also to appreciate the dual option approach to some referrals that the evaluation body has proposed. Regarding the first question on the office, agency, organization, or body responsible for maintaining and updating the inventories, the answer, Mr. Chairman, is contained in an extract from the inventory that was referred to in the nomination file, namely the inventory of Malawi's Intangible Cultural Heritage, Volume 2. This extract, which is in the preface, this extract, which is the preface to the inventory, was not submitted together with the file. The Secretariat has distributed this extract to members of the committee. The extract indicates, Mr. Chairman, in the last paragraph, that the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee is the responsible body for maintaining and updating the inventories. Let me hasten to say, Mr. Chairman, that all the 17 ethnic communities in Malawi are represented on the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee through their associations and therefore are part of the process of maintaining and updating the inventories. The contact details of the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee and the associations are indicated in 4D of the nomination file. Let me also mention that the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee is in the then Department of Culture. Now it is called the Department of Museums and Monuments after a functional review approved in July this year that proposed the change in the name of the department. This department is in the now Ministry of Civic Education, Culture and Community Services. With regard to the second question, Mr. Chairman, on how regularly the inventories are updated, the answer is in the same extract and paragraph I have referred to in response to the first question. The extract indicates that the inventories shall be updated at least once in 6 years to coincide with the periodic reporting cycles of the 2003 Convention. Section 5 of the nomination file already indicated that the inventory of Malawi's Intangible Cultural Heritage, Volume 1 and 2, listed in SIMA as a culinary tradition of Malawi. Volume 1 was included in 2011 and Volume 2 in 2013, after 2 years. Volume 2 has updated information on the element. I wish to state too, Mr. Chairman, that we have learned through this process that it is better to submit the whole inventory together with the file rather than parts of the inventory, so that essential information is not left out during extraction of the relevant sections. Because of this, we have submitted to the Secretariat the full text of the inventory referred to. I hope, Mr. Chairman, that the information is adequate for the purposes as requested by the evaluation body. Thank you.
Thank you, Malawi. And now floor is open for committee members. Zambia first.
Well, the chairman would like to thank the evaluation body for the professional manner in which they conducted this evaluation. To this end, we would also like to congratulate Malawi for raising to the occasion and provide the information that has helped to clarify this matter. From Malawi's presentation, it has become very, very clear that the issues that were raised by the evaluation body have been adequately addressed. In that regard, it is now clear that the nominated element is the responsibility of the Malawi National Intangible Heritage Committee on behalf of all Malawians. In this regard, Mr. Chairman, Zambia wishes to propose that Nsima, the culinary tradition of Malawi, be inscribed on the representative list as proposed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Zambia. Now, St. Lucia first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo Zambia's sentiments. The notes of the evaluation committee asked for two simple things that were missing, and I think the information that Malawi has given us has adequately satisfied this. However, I do want to make one additional point. I have listened to Malawi, and they have explained their concerns about they should have submitted the entire list. But I do want to appeal to the members to be a little more diligent in the submissions to the evaluation body, because this is a simple thing. If you are submitting an excerpt from your inventories and you do not submit the name of the main person responsible, and you have to wait for you to be asked to submit it, I think there was some fault right there, and I want to appeal for due diligence in this, and we can avoid this hiccup that we are going through to inscribe. I want to propose that we inscribe this. It very much satisfies our criteria. Thank you.
Thank you, St. Lucia. It's Mauritius.
Chair, I'll go in the same vein and support the application of Malawi.
Yeah, on my list, yeah, Senegal, Ethiopia, Cote d'Ivoire, yeah, so all supporting yeah, Bulgaria, Congo, Afghanistan, so Hungary. So I think we are ready to move to the adoption of the decision para by para. As customary, para 1, no amendment, adopted. Para 2, R1, R2, R3, R4, adopted, and para 2 as a whole, no objection, adopted. Para 3, based on interventions from members of the committee, it seems that we are now satisfied the information considered as missing by the EB has been provided by the submitting state at the present session. Can we consider criterion R5 as proposed under the inscription option? The standard form containing R5. No objections. So, can we consider para 3 as proposed on the inscription option adopted as a whole as amended? Adopted. And 4 and 5 is a no amendment, so 4 and 5 adopted. So can we consider the whole as a whole, the draft decision adopted? No objection. I therefore declare decision 12.com 11.b.21 adopted as amended. Congratulations, Malawi. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Allow me to, first of all, congratulate the Republic of Korea for hosting this committee meeting and the hospitality the people of this great country have so far accorded us. Let me congratulate you too, Mr. Chairman, for being elected to lead these discussions, which you have so far done excellently. To the UNESCO Secretariat, thank you for your excellent work and technical assistance you rendered in the course of elaborating this nomination file. I should hasten to say, Mr. Chairman, that although we are aware of the human resources constraints of the Secretariat, we really do not feel it. And this is because of the dedication of Mr. Curtis and his team, and that we do not take for granted. I would be failing in my duty if, Mr. Chairman, I do not pass on the message of gratitude from the communities in Malawi who have benefited from the Flanders government's support towards strengthening capacity in the implementation of the convention in the Southern African region in general and in Malawi in particular. Here I would like to make mention that the technical support provided by FARO, one of the accredited NGOs from the Flanders, has been valuable in the establishment of the Southern Africa ICH platform, now hosted by the University of Chinhoyi in Zimbabwe, to which Malawi has been closely associated. We hope this partnership will continue to grow from strength to strength to benefit the success of the convention. Mr. Chairman, Malawi also thanks the committee for its decision to inscribe Nsima, the culinary tradition of Malawi, on the representative list of ICH of humanity. This will go a long way in promoting the heritage and identity of the 17 linguistic communities in Malawi. Last, Mr. Chairman, Malawi invites our regional neighbors to join us to make this a multinational nomination that it deserves in future cycles, because we acknowledge that similar elements are practiced in the other countries like Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Botswana, to mention a few. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The culinary tradition of Malawi. The subject of food is to the Malawian one which is particularly near to his heart. This is why so much of his life is bound up in one way or the other with the production, storage, preparation, and consumption of food. Given to a group of foods making up the Malawian's diet since time immemorial is Nsima, which is also the name of the central component of the foods. Therefore, Nsima is a compound name of the culinary tradition of Malawian as well as the name of a single component of this group of foods. The word Nsima is in Chichewa language, which is the most widely spoken language in Malawi. Even the most of the other 15 languages call it almost the same, with slight variation at the beginning of the word, calling it either Sima, or Nchima, or Etima. However, Nsima is known by the author's name in other languages such as Bugari in Chisukwa, and even this comes with a variation at the beginning, with some calling it Ugari in Chiao. Therefore, all the people of Malawi recognize Nsima or Bugari as their own culinary heritage. Nsima, thus the central component, and the accompanying components, popularly known as side dishes, is an afternoon and evening meal tradition. Traditionally, it is a communal meal where a number of Nsima dishes are brought from the households that make up the family or village. Maize, chimanga, is grown throughout Malawi in mainly small fields at household and village level.
Thank you, Malawi, and congratulations. Please, ladies and gentlemen, before you leave the room, I would like to give the floor to the Secretary for a few practical announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. UNESCO is organizing an information session on strengthening capacities to safeguard intangible cultural heritage and contribute to sustainable development at 1:30 p.m. at Hala Hall. At the same time, the ICH NGO Forum is also holding its working group on ethical principles in Samda Hall. Please consult the TV screen outside for more information. Thank you.
Thank you. We are meeting again at 2:30 p.m. sharp. I wish you a pleasant lunch break. Meeting is adjourned.